So, in order to apply for my career stage, to complete my teacher portfolio at uni, to get ready for full rego or proficiency, I have to make sure before I begin any of that process that I've already got all the evidence I need. I have to have a box full of stuff. That's how I know that I am now ready because I've got all the stuff. If I've got all the stuff, I am totally ready. I couldn't possibly be ready without the stuff or having already traveled and knowing that I have already met all the expectations. I couldn't possibly, could I? Could I?
Hi, I'm Selena Woodward, and I'm an English and drama teacher, university lecturer, and with edufolios.org, a big-time reflective practitioner. So how can reflective practice help you grow your teaching skills, fall in love with your profession all over again, and help you nail accreditation and teacher registration with less stress and less work? Well, this is the Reflective Teacher Podcast.
Hi there, and welcome to the Reflective Teacher Podcast. As always, I am your host, Selena Woodward. I hope this morning, this afternoon, whenever you're listening to this podcast, you have had a great day and all is well in your world. I want to draw attention to the fact that each and every single episode of the Reflective Teacher Podcast is now being recorded live. I'm sat here with a camera in front of me, talking to a webcam, talking to you, so you can see these episodes on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't done so already, I want you to head to YouTube, look for Edufolios, and give us a like and a subscribe. We want to be able to reach you wherever you choose to get your professional learning. And we figured YouTube was a really great place to hang out with you. You'll also notice, if you subscribe to us, that every few days we are sharing little YouTube shorts with 4 or 5 tips to help you with teaching, teacher accreditation, and more. So it's worth hanging out with us in that space and getting all this great free professional development. Thank you if you've already liked and subscribed to our channel. Can't wait to keep hanging out with you. It's awesome. I also want you to know that as of the 23rd of February, we have an amazing competition open to all our listeners. This competition is for one seat on our amazing signature course, The Evidence Engine. That's right, you are going to get, if you win, lifetime access to the Evidence Engine, which is a proven course to help support you to understand how to create evidence of impact that will pass at any career stage, any accreditation stage at all. You've probably heard me talk about this course over and over again on the podcast, and it's going to be opening its doors again in a few short weeks. So, as this year has been crazy, we figured we would cheer you up by offering you the chance to win lifetime access to the Evidence Engine. Now, when you win this piece, you're going to win nearly $4,000 worth of professional development. It includes an online course, which is incredibly comprehensive and teaches you step by step a process guaranteed to help remove the overwhelm of the teaching standards and accreditation and all that crazy. Whether you're doing GTPA, graduate, proficient, highly accomplished, or lead, this course will be really valuable to you. You're also going to get to have coaching with me. We meet every week for group coaching sessions once the course is up and running. So you get to hang out with me and we get to work together on your evidence creation, which is awesome. Plus a whole heap of bonuses, Facebook communities, and more. So if you would love an opportunity to win lifetime access to the Evidence Engine online course, as well as access to that coaching and all those bonuses, you need to head to edufolios.org/win, edufolios.org/WIN. That will take you to a page where you can click a button that will open Facebook Messenger, where you can talk to us and we can walk you through enrolling for a chance to win. The winner will be announced just at the early start of April. The competition closes at the end of March. So you've got a few weeks to get in there. Get in there early, get yourself some extra entries by following the instructions we give you, and good luck. I really, really hope that it's you I get to coach in the next cohort of the Evidence Engine for free. It's really worth doing. Go for it. Go see if it's you. Also, make sure that you are on the waitlist for the Evidence Engine so you get the latest news and information, including an opportunity to enter this very cool competition. Now, today's episode is actually tackling this idea of whether or not you need to have evidence already before you begin the process of accreditation. And I wanted to tackle this because it's something that comes up every single time I begin coaching a new educator, no matter what career stage they're at. Uni students, you tend to wait until the module with your portfolio or your GTPA is upon you, and then you act. Proficient teachers, you tend to wait until that final letter or email, then you act. HA and lead, you go to the PD on HA and lead, and you wait until you've got a few years worth of stuff before you even make that decision. And I wanted to unpack that with you today because to me, there feels like there are two main camps with this. There's number one, the people who have a massive box of stuff. They will meet me and they will say, Sal, I've got all this stuff here. Look, I've been putting it all in a box. And then there are the people who go, I don't have anything. I just think that I'm probably ready, but I'm really underprepared and I don't have anything and I don't know what to do. In both scenarios, though, there is this sense of needing to wait for the condition of, I've taught X number of years and I think I've got enough now. I've already done it. Or I've gathered stuff in a box. And both have this viewpoint that I have to have got from here to here before I can begin the process. It's really, really interesting. It feels like there's a sense of urgency to collect stuff too. There's a real, if I've got a folder, a OneDrive, a Google Drive somewhere, a box, a filing cabinet drawer where I'm chucking stuff in, then I'm making some progress. But when I work with those people and they sit down with all of this information, they actually usually feel more overwhelmed. And often they feel it's very overbearing because they've got all this stuff. And they think the next logical step is to organize these things into groups and turn them into evidence sets. But there are huge pieces of the puzzle missing, huge pieces of the puzzle missing. So it's why it becomes really overwhelming. And that's why I want to unpack that with you, because there is a sense that before I begin accreditation, I already need to be at HA, at Proficient, at Lead. I actually already need to have done everything I need before I can do it. I need stuff before I can begin. And I want to break that down. I've written it down here. Let's say that again. What you're telling yourself, if you feel that way, is that in order to start putting your evidence together, in order to even begin experimenting with that, you have to have already achieved the standard. You're not ready until you know you are HA, you are Proficient, you are Lead, you are Graduate. You wait until the very end point before you do it. And I get that because there's got to be some fear involved about whether or not you can meet it. But that in itself is a barrier, right? What does it matter if you can't just yet? There's a learning curve that's going on. So let's say that again. You are suggesting that in order to begin the process of teacher accreditation, you need to have your evidence ready to go in a way that means you've already achieved that standard. It's really, that's crazy, right? Let me put it this way. If you had a group of kids, English teacher, right? And you said to them, hey, you need to write an essay on Romeo and Juliet. It's day one. Write your essay on Romeo and Juliet. What would happen? There are so many skills that I haven't taught them, that they haven't had a chance yet to experience. First of all, do they know how to lay out an essay, the structure of an analytical essay? Do they know how to find the evidence for the points that they want to make and how to justify that in their essay? Do they even know what techniques they're looking for in the writer's practice that they need to highlight, examine, and explore in the structure that they've learned, using their understanding of how to evidence that and how to quote from that? There are lots and lots of skills that are not just, here's the book. Okay, there's lots to unpack there. And it's the same with accreditation. There are specific things that you need to know and you need to practice. It's incredibly ridiculous to ask a year 12 kid to write an essay on a book, a play, a novel without teaching them and without letting them practice those skills. We know that that would feel overwhelming and it would not lead to success because there would be no room in there for making mistakes, growing, increasing impact. I want you to think right now about a scenario that you're teaching right now, some content. Think about what would happen if you just told your kids, you did maths last year, now write an essay about this, or now solve this problem, without coaching them through that. What would you do instead? Would you have a plan? We talked about this last week, which broke it down into steps and stages that they could follow until they mastered each set of those skills that they would need to practice over time until it became second nature, until writing an analytical essay is not an issue. So I can now focus on writer's craft, going back to my idea. You need to give them time. And if you turn around and say, I'm not going to begin the process of accreditation until I've got all of this stuff, can you see how you might be setting yourself up for stress, overwhelm, and potential failure? It certainly won't be the easiest way, okay? If you approach GTPA, grad, proficient, HA, and lead without having practiced how you need to work with the standards, without having any prior knowledge of how to tell a story of your practice in a way that shares the impact, without having any opportunity to practice the skills you need to share that story with evidence, correct evidence that supports that, then of course it is going to feel overwhelming. Now, I want to say that I'm definitely not suggesting here that you pay for HA or lead and you hand up an application with just stuff in it. You know, you've got to practice. You're not going to hand up the practice, just as you wouldn't hand up the draft of the essay or year 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 when you're handing up your coursework in year 12. What I'm suggesting here is that it takes time, it takes practice, reflective practice, and it takes an understanding that you may not know everything yet, and that's okay. Most of you are cool with the fact you don't know everything yet. Not many of you are okay with that, or at least the way you talk. You know, you can be really hard on yourself. The process toward accreditation shouldn't start when you decide to apply for HA or LEAD or GTPA. It should start the minute you start working with kids, with your colleagues, with your site. It should start with regular practice of you reflecting on what you are experiencing in your setting, in your context, so that when you get to the point where you are ready to go to application mode for HA, lead, or whatever, you've already practiced many of the skills that you need. So as you work through or towards and onwards through 2022, I want you to consider what steps you might need to take in 2022 as you walk toward accreditation. Whether you're at uni right now and you know the GTPA is going to come up in year 4, don't care if you're in year 1 right now, whether you are a proficient teacher who's just started and you're going to have to gather evidence for proficiency and you've got 3 to 5 years, I'm talking to you even if you've been doing it for 3 weeks. Whether you're an HA or lead educator, I want you to consider how you can make space in your day, in your week, in your term to get these skills underway. Number 1, really important, is you really need to work out how you're going to understand how the standards can work for you, not against you. Changing your mindset away from This is a horrible rubric and something I'm being forced to do that's extra paperwork to this is a document that can help me understand far more deeply my practice in the classroom and can open up conversation and opportunity for me to really explore the impact that I am having in my classroom. How are you going to move from horrible paperwork, don't understand this rubric, 148 focus areas, to, okay, let's have a look at this document. How can this help me better understand my practice? Number 2, how are you going to take steps to get your head around the word impact and learn exactly who at your career stage your impact should be focused on, and learn how to tell the story about that practice in a way that is going to support an assessor? So number 2, getting your head around the standards and the word impact and how they connect, because the impact changes in every career stage. So do you know who the hero of your story is? How are you going to find that out? And number 3, how are you going to learn to write the story of your practice in a way that gives the context of your environment as if an alien was about to walk into your room, right? That whole English task we used to have when I was a kid. Describe planet Earth to an alien. You need to be able to do that with your classroom and what you're doing in your classroom, because your assessor doesn't know your kids, doesn't know your school, doesn't know you. So you need to learn to be able to tell the story and the context you're working in a way that showcases the impact that you've now understood from point 2. And then the 4th one is, how can you use the language in the focus areas along with a heat map tool to really understand what you've covered, what you are loving talking about, and what you, my friend, are avoiding. This comes up a lot in my coaching. We will get people who have absolutely tons of evidence in the areas that they are passionate about, and then really struggle to find evidence in the areas that they haven't been paying attention to. So I want you to think about how you can get smarter. How can you use the language in the focus areas and a heat map tool to help you keep track of what you've been talking about as you practice and as you put your evidence together? 4 things there that are really important. And you'll notice I haven't even talked about going to the PD and finding out how your assessing authority wants you to lay it out or what they're looking for. First of all, you need to understand the standards, the career stages, your practice and what you love to focus on, what you're avoiding, and how to tell a story of impact in a way that it is hard to ignore. It's really easy for an assessor. Those are 4 really key skills. So how are you going to do that? What can you do in 2022 to help yourself move forward in that way? Well, you need to start practicing, and you need to open up to the idea that you need to make mistakes. And you're going to need a support network around you to do that. You might find other people at school, other people on Twitter, other people through edufolios who are in the same boat. The evidence engine is perfect for that. That's why we have our little online communities where people swap ideas. But you are going to need to practice reflecting on what you're doing. Practice connecting the standards to those stories. Practice working on the context and how you're sharing that so that an alien would understand the huge impact that you've made. And practicing recording which focus areas you keep hitting and which ones you are avoiding. Now, one of the ways that you can do that is to use a support system, of course, like edufolios, where we give you room to tell your story. We give you tools to show you how to connect the focus areas to what you're already doing. We have automatic, magical focus area heat maps that show you without you having to do anything apart from tag them when you write your stories. It shows you what you keep talking about, what you keep missing. And very, very soon, top secret, we'll have a new interface that also includes a bunch of templates to help you organize and write a structure that will communicate impact to your readers. So if you haven't done so already, I would say go and grab your free trial of Edufolios. Head to edufolios.org and start your free trial right now. Give it a go and find a space that has systems and tools to support you. Of course, if you want a step-by-step program and you want coaching, go and enter the competition for the Evidence Engine. Get your name on that wait list. And let's get you moving faster towards your goal with less overwhelm and far less stress. I personally would love the opportunity to work with you. So don't forget, we have that competition going as well. I don't want you to think, not even for a single moment, that you have to be ready at HA in order to apply and begin the process of reflective practice. Trust me, the number of people who come to me and they're trying to build their HA portfolio and they're struggling because they're actually lead is ridiculous. Same with proficient. The number of people who come to me to get full registration and as they go, realize they're pretty much HA already. That's because, you need to practice. You need to be open to the idea that there are lots of elements, there are lots of cogs in this engine of evidence creation that you need to be able to use. You need to be able to understand to take all that pressure away. So having a box load of stuff will still feel overwhelming if you don't know how to work with the standards, write about impact. There's just a lot to do. So I want you to slow down. I want you to consider how starting today and practicing with the right tools and support can help you make really big steps towards meeting your career goal. What do you think? Give Edufolios a go today. Make sure you head to edufolios.org/win and get in for a chance of getting a free lifetime access to our online course and free access to that 8 weeks of coaching. Why wouldn't you? And I will see you this time next week for the Reflective Teacher podcast. Take care.